because I don't want to have someone sitting in that chair that has the accolades, that has the bank account, that you're taking wisdom from, but as every other area of their life falling apart.
Yeah. And Jesus said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul?
I think there are people that are personally developing themselves to a point of idolatry, and that you begin to worship yourself and what you're able to do through all these different exercises and things to be successful, that your heart is no longer on good values and a relationship with God and a relationship with Jesus. Welcome to the Christian Entrepreneur Podcast. I always want to learn from people that weren't just successful, but also put Jesus at the center of everything they do. I couldn't find it, so I did what entrepreneurs do best. I created it. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the power of building your business in community and how it can multiply what you're setting your hand to. Today, I'm joined by my beautiful wife, the one, the only, Esther Cottle.
Mrs. Cottle.
Mrs. Cottle, my partner in business, the love of my life. And really just, they say behind every great man's a great woman, and they're not lying. We've been able to build multiple companies together. We've been able to make a lot of money, have a lot of success, change a lot of people's lives.
Have a lot of fun in the meantime.
Have a lot of fun, travel around all over, and get to do some really cool things.
Yes. Let's go.
Ready to have some fun, babe?
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
I know you're excited about the topic today, aren't you?
Oh, I am. I'm all about it.
Yeah, we were just talking about how community and even like the principle of masterminding has let us 10x our businesses, right, babe?
Oh, yeah. Even like adding one person to your community that has knowledge and experience beyond you. Like even when you and I met, I'm like, holy cow, where have I been my whole life?
This is going to be a short, powerful episode, but if you are a Christian entrepreneur, we're speaking to you, or a Christian that is in the process of starting your business. If you haven't watched the episode before this, if you're new to creating a business, that's all about how to get started, how to create your business. We dive very in depth in that episode. Once you have a business, the next thing is you need to get plugged in to community. And let me explain what I mean by that. I don't mean you need to go join social clubs and groups or partner community with people that aren't entrepreneurs like you. That's great in your network, and you might be able to build connections. You still should, get plugged into your community and ultimately can have people that become your customers or clients. But what we're talking about when we say community is getting around like-minded Christian entrepreneurs that are just like you, that can help speak into your business, mastermind with you, collaborate with you, support you, champion you, so you can grow your business.
I want to also talk about the difference between a Christian ecosystem that has God at the center, that isn't ego driven, that there's not an intimidating factor. I mean, there's a huge difference than that compared to a lot of the rooms that we've found ourselves in, where it is just like, wow, everyone's just trying to compete with each other or size each other up or use each other to get ahead. Yeah. It's a huge
that's such a good
dynamic.
contrast. Yeah. And I think guys like Esther and I noticed, so when I was young at 17, I got exposed to like personal development. I was in a network marketing company. I went to a seminar. I started learning that there's like coaches in the world. There's masterminds. There's these different containers of business owners, and I wanted to get in the room. And often to get in the room, you got to pay to play. So you buy the program, you invest in the mastermind, you hire the coach, you buy the ticket to the event, and it's totally worth the investment because the ROI is really you're sitting at the table, you're in the room. Yeah. But what happened is I get in all these rooms with all these successful business owners, and I've learned so much, and it has helped me grow my businesses, and I have personally developed Cody. But at the heart of it, they were missing something. Something always felt off. I would meet people that have $100 million companies, even just $10 million, $1 million businesses, or multi-six-figure. And I was so inspired when I was coming up being around these people. But I started noticing a lot of these guys, because it was usually men's groups, had all the cars, the house, the bank account, more money than they knew what to do with, but they were divorced on their second marriage. Their kids didn't talk to them. They didn't know Jesus. They didn't have faith. They didn't have a relationship with God. They were just constantly seeking and wanting and desiring more in the world.
Yeah, and they're compromising their values in even how they do business.
To make money,
Yeah, they're willing to go against their morals. Their morals change, they're just to make money, just to be successful, to hit the, the list that they want to hit and to be acknowledged by the world, but yet their whole inner world is crumbling.
That's so good. Guys, I've met people that have made a lot of money and been very successful and built big companies that compromise on their values. And I'll tell you guys, I believe they pay a price for that. And in the end, they really pay a price, right? If they're not faithful with what God's given them, there's no saying they're going to make it into heaven and have eternity, in heaven. They might go to hell. But also, just like, you don't have to do that to be successful in business.
You don't.
I've met the most incredible people that have built the most incredible companies with incredible products and services, and they're very successful. And they're great husbands. They're great fathers. They're present. They don't compromise their values in business. They take the long road. They don't take the shortcut. They lose a lot of money to do things the right way.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but that's what this show is all about.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have someone sitting in that chair that has the accolades, that has the bank account, that you're taking wisdom from, but has every other area of their life falling apart.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to bring people that have Christian values that are actually operating in them, building in them, that can speak from a place of true wisdom and say, hey, you can be very successful in your business and you don't have to compromise, and you can keep Jesus at the center of it. And this is how you do it.
Absolutely. And Jesus said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? And that is what we're seeing trending in the entrepreneurial culture, in the small business culture, is everyone is willing to trade their soul to gain the world, not realizing even how it's weaving its way. It's very subtle sometimes. It's just even investing in a mastermind where no one is a believer, where the morality levels are all over the place, and you don't realize that even just being in that environment is influencing you.
Yeah.
So what we're doing here, the Christian entrepreneur is living very counterculture.
Yeah.
And so these conversations that we're having, it's not trendy. This is not cool to talk about, but it is so pivotal to living a life that's faithful, to true success, and to really living the life that Jesus has called us to, where our soul is prospering and everything else in our life will also prosper as a result.
That's so good, babe. And I think too, you get into these groups and these rooms, and personal development, there's a lot of new age stuff, even witchcraft. And you go to these events and these practices and these exercises that they take you through. And as a Christian who's aware, who's in the Word of God, who has the Holy Spirit, I began to discern and be like, man, this doesn't feel right. Like what we're doing, this exercise, this speaker, something's off about them. Something's demonic about them. And I think that you have to be careful, because I think there are people that are personally developing themselves to a point of idolatry, and that you begin to worship yourself and what you're able to do through all these different exercises and things to be successful, that your heart is no longer on good values and a relationship with God and a relationship with Jesus. It's all about, what can I do? What can I accomplish?
Absolutely.
And I would see a lot of that. And I just don't think that's the way that God intended for it to be. I think that's when we're beginning to lose our soul, lose ourself to gain the things of this world, like you talked about, Esther. Another thing is, when I go to a business event and I'm married and I'm a Christian man, and I got to fly to Las Vegas and I got to go to an event, it's a great event. And the people I'm hanging out with when we get done want to go to the bar and get trashed. They have no values. They're also married. They want to go out to a club afterwards. They're talking to women. They're flirting with them. They want to go to a strip club. Those are not people I want to surround myself with.
Yeah.
That is putting myself in a compromising culture that is just, you do that long enough, you're going to sin. And I think that I just have been around long enough now. And I was the guy, I had to learn to, I've been to some of those events, and I'm going to go back to my room. I'm going to watch some TV and order room service and not go out with these people because I don't want to even be in the environment, even if I'm a strong man, to compromise on those things. And when I started getting around Christian entrepreneurs like me that had good values, I started noticing that they weren't like that.
Yeah.
We go to a nice steakhouse. We talk about Jesus and business and we hang out a little bit. We go to bed early. We get up the next morning. We hit a workout. We're into the event early. We're pressing in. We're having conversations with other people at the event and discipling them. And we're connecting with people and leading them to Jesus. Like total different counterculture experience.
It's insane. And it frustrates me that Christians who want to produce, who want to create something that's great, something that's profitable, something that is successful, even in the eyes of the world, they feel like they don't have access to that same knowledge, that same opportunity of the AI, of the software, of the, the business development world. They feel there's often like a limitation of, well, I want the information, so I have to go to these environments where they're pandering to my flesh, where they're pandering with temptation, because that's how those environments are. They incorporate these entertainment factors to almost groom you to do business with you, where they're hiring these showgirls and they're showing off and they're ordering the bottles for you. And there is this environment that is so tempting so that you continue to stay addicted to that environment. But there is another solution, and we're creating that where you don't have to compromise. You don't have to keep putting yourselves in those environments. And actually, the ecosystem that we're creating now and we're inviting people into is going to be so life-giving, and not only spiritually, but in your business development and personal development.
Yeah, it's so good. And guys, I do think we're called to be the light and the salt of the earth. I do believe you can go in those environments and be light in the darkness, and it is needed. I don't think we should shy away.
Yeah.
But I think also we should be intentional about who we surround ourselves with and why. So now we've kind of talked about that and what's going on in the world in business communities. I just want to talk about the value of it, the value of community. And, for me, I love saying this quote that if you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. And I think what happens in business is it's a really lonely journey. Mm-hmm. And I think that maybe you listening to this right now, you feel pretty alone in building your business and you feel stressed out and it's hard and you're growing weary in the process. You feel like you don't have people you can talk to about what you're going in. You even feel like if you're a Christian, you're plugged in your church, you're like, man, I can't really talk to my small group about my business. I can't really talk about money. They kind of look down on that. And you just isolate yourself on an island. Yeah. Being a business owner itself is a hard enough journey. Being a Christian business owner that wants to have Christian values in business is even more lonely. And that's how I felt. I realized that going back to the barbershop, metaphor and quote, if I want to get more successful in my business, I need to hang around people that are more successful than me. I need to get in proximity and I need to get in community because I need to learn things I don't know. I need to have wise counsel. Proverbs says, do not wage war without wise counsel, without counselors. There's so many proverbs about wise counsel, about wisdom, about having people speak into you before you wage war. Yes, that's about Solomon going to war, but it's just as applicable to what we do in the marketplace inside of our businesses. Yeah. So babe, what for you, what is the power of community when it comes to being a Christian entrepreneur for you?
For myself, I think that it has been such a eye-opening experience from my background was all ministry in church world and nonprofit world, but yet I had such a drive and desire to produce and to build my business, but I felt like I didn't even know where to go to find it. Then meeting you and so many other entrepreneurs and community through you, it has just opened my eyes to see what's inside of me and to access tools and resources that can multiply what's inside of me. And I'm learning so much about even the opportunity I didn't even know was right in front of me. Whereas before I'm looking at ways of like, okay, how can I create this side hustle, or how can I make money, through babysitting or all these other ways just so I can do my dream. just so I can pay my bills. And now I'm in a whole new season where I'm actually doing the thing that I'm called to do. And I don't have to be distracted by all these other means of just trying to make it, which there's a season for that sometimes. But now being in community, I'm not alone. People understand me. We can talk about it. And when we talk about it, there's solution. Things that I didn't even know existed.
That's so good. And guys, I think like we should always be seeking to be in community with people that think on that level of where you want to go with your life. And what I think is beautiful about a community is you're going to have people that are farther in the race than you, that are more successful than you, especially in like a business, Christian, entrepreneur type community, that you're going to get so much wisdom because they've already been where you're at. You're also going to have people that are shoulder to shoulder running the race with you that are just like you. And they're going to champion you, encourage you, and you're going to be able to talk with them and build relationship with them. And you guys support each other. It's like going out to run a race. Man, you know why people that run marathons and stuff have pacers and runners that run with them? Because it helps them run farther, helps them run faster when they have someone else there with them. I've experienced that in my own business. And then you're going to have people that are behind you, that aren't as successful as you, that you get to mentor, that you get to pour into. When you put all these people into a community together, it becomes a really beautiful ecosystem because you really get to connect and build relationships that with people that truly understand like what you're going through. I do not know if I would be where I'm at if it wasn't for communities I plugged in, like the Kings Brotherhood. I'm in a Christian all men's business owner mastermind I've been in for years. Those men are my brothers, and they've got me through some really hard times, and they've spoke such sound wisdom into me in building my companies that has impacted me so much. We were just at one the other day, Gx3 Girls, Gold, and God. And we were guest speakers at, and it's women in Orange County that are coming together to build businesses and to mastermind. And it was beautiful, and it was so inspiring, and it was so powerful, the room of these women coming together. And I've seen so many of these ecosystems. So I want to ask you, I want you to think about this. Do you have a community of like-minded people just like you? If you're a Christian entrepreneur, are you in community with Christian entrepreneurs that are challenging you to grow? If you don't, you need to find it. You need to plug into it. You need to do whatever it takes to get that, because that right there, if you don't, you're isolated. You're on an island, and it's so much harder than if you're just in community with people that are like you, that can speak into you. The other thing, on a tactical sense, if you're thinking in terms of ROI, I'm very strategic as well. When two or more minds are gathered, so I have my own intellect, my own wisdom as a human being, and I can sit and brainstorm and think and strategize and come up with ideas by myself. I can note it. The moment I go to Esther and the moment I start to talk with her about my ideas, she also has her own unique intellect, wisdom, ideas. With the ideas I threw out, two minds create a third that Esther could have never had on her own. I could have never had on my own. This is the mastermind principle. When two or more minds are gathered, it creates a third mind. And that is the genius of, even like Proverbs talks about, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. There's something beautiful about that you cannot obtain on your own. Then if you took input, we have Tony recording over here. If we had me, Esther, Tony, then let's say we had John, and we add Kyle, and we add Susie, and we add Rachel, and we have all these people in a room. And I share with this group, guys, this is my business. This is what it's Q3 right now. These are the goals I'm trying to hit. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. And this is what I've been struggling with. And then I just listen and I take notes, and I let Esther and Rachel and Susie and Tony and Kyle all speak into this. And they also, their ideas formulate on top of one another, and they come up with different solutions, and I'm chiming in. We can create strategy. That's what Solomon was talking about. That's wise counselors. That's your board of advisors that speak into what you're doing. I do not, you can ask Esther, my wife, do I do anything big in our business world without going to Wise Counsel?
No.
Always go to Wise Counsel. My wife first, always. But outside of that, do we not bring in our pastors? Do we not bring in our mentors? Do we not bring in our mastermind community, the Christian Entrepreneur Club, different people, and talk about our ideas to think through them, poke holes in them, fortify them?
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
I think that is the most valuable asset as a Christian entrepreneur that you can have, is a community of like-minded Christian entrepreneurs, so that you're not waging war on your own plans. They're going to see things that you don't see. So this episode was really to encourage you, challenge you, inspire you to get that in your life. And I'm not saying that has to be with our community. This is not to just sell you guys or get you guys into the Christian Entrepreneur Club. Just go find it. If you guys want to be in partnership and community with Esther and I, we started a nonprofit called 7 Peaks. Inside of that nonprofit, we also have the Christian Entrepreneur Club. That is a community of faith-based business owners all coming together to mastermind, connect with one another, collaborate with one another, champion one another, and coach one another. And you guys can go find out information on that at christianentrepreneurclub.org. But I just encourage you, go find community that you can plug into.
Yeah. And I just want to also just end with saying that when you are a solo entrepreneur, your inner critic is going to tempt you to give up. Your inner critic is sometimes the only voice that you're starting to receive counsel from, and tell you that you're not going to sell. No one's going to buy your product, or this is as capped as you're going to be. You're never going to break through that ceiling. And if you're not in community, then that voice is eventually going to talk you out of your calling. So the importance, I even the other day just had a girl reach out to me, and she's like, Esther, I just feel like I'm failing my online coaching business. I'm like done with this. I'm ready to give up. I need to do something else. And because I've done the journey with her and I've seen her track record, and she brought this to me, I was able to say, absolutely not. You're crushing it because you're consistent.
Yeah.
And don't give up on something that you just started, and you need to keep putting in the reps. So sometimes it's like we don't even realize that we're compromising our calling because that inner critic is causing us to shut down and give up. So the value of being in community that can see your calling, that knows, okay, let's pray. Let's bring that to God, and let's shut down that inner voice right now. We're going to start speaking life and not complaining over it, or speaking death over that, and actually reposition our heart and realize, oh, wow, yeah, you're right. I am called. I do need to be consistent. There's so much value in that. You honestly can't put a price tag on it, because that is your calling before God, that He invites us into a community to be sustained by His people.
Yeah. Come on. It reminds me of just the other day, we were running a Bible. We do a Bible study every week with Christian entrepreneurs. You guys are welcome to join. It's on Wednesdays. And we had someone that was ready to throw in the towel and just give up on their business, just feeling so defeated. Finances have been tough. And it was so cool to see like multiple people come and pray over that person and their business, and just the shift that person had afterwards. And we don't have to have all the answers for our friends either. When we partner with God and we partner with one another, it's so beautiful, like what comes out of that. Sometimes we just need hope. Sometimes we just need faith to keep going. Sometimes we just need a little bit of encourage, and you sprinkle in a little bit of strategy with the wisdom we learn along the way, and we're able to really keep going and stay on the journey. I love that, babe. It was so good. Yeah. So guys, get plugged into community. And if you got value from this episode, please share it with someone else you think would get value from it. If you haven't yet, please leave us a review on this podcast. It really does help us reach more people. And we would love to get to connect with you. We'd love to get to know you better. Connect with us on social media. Esther Marie Cottle, and I am Cody Cottle. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.